Hello there, and welcome to today's video, which is our first one from More Adventures for the ZX Spectrum by Clive Gifford. Set yourself down, because this introduction is a bit of a long one. The Swordsman of Kraxis 7. In the days of Kramer the Relentless, before the coming of the Watchers, a little-known scribe aspired to become the leading swordsman of his humble planet, Kraxis 7. After many trials and tribulations, he achieved his goal, and, with it, the Sword of Destiny. At that time, little more than a ceremonial trinket, but later to become the central object in a universal struggle for galactic power and dominance. Then the Watchers arrived, and with them came untold suffering and chaos. Many worlds were destroyed, many others subject to the terror that the Watchers created. Your world may soon be under attack, and you must make an attempt to save it. The Sword of Destiny, wielded by the Swordsman of Kraxis 7, is the only possible way to stop the Watchers. Whoever has the sword can control space and temporal movements on a grand scale, and, in the right hands, the sword can banish the Watchers from the galaxy. Kraxis 7 has passed into history. You must find the date of the swordsman's existence, then use this code to travel in a time machine back to that age. Once there, you must persuade the swordsman to help in some way. The date is to be found on a scroll in Gamroth Castle. The only way to reach it is by skiing from the top of the mountain down to the grounds of the castle. Remember that the Watchers have also sent minions out to search for the scroll. Once the scroll is found, the time machine must be located, the time travel executed, the swordsman found, and his help sought. Only then is your home planet of Andromeda 14 and the rest of the galaxy safe. This epic contest is an example of what can be done with 3 or 4 separate programs linked together under a common theme. Before you start the adventure, type RAND followed by GoTo1. The input at the start of the game should be in lowercase. The final piece of advice concerns the skiing part of the adventure. There are 25 gates which must be skied through by pressing F, G and H. The UGGs for the trees and the skier are created by the graphics A, B, C, D and E keys. Shall we begin? Up it loads, little beeply booply noises. Press the key to start. F, G and H are the keys we need to press, and they should be lowercase, otherwise they ain't going to work. The Swordsman of Kraxis 7. So skiing down the hill, and return green, better that next time. Another flashing 1. Let's try that again. I guess we must have hit something, so we can ski to the left, ski to the right, or right and left, depending on which way you're facing. I didn't see any trees or any gates. This is typed in as in the book. So let's skip forward to level 2, see how that gets on. Nice scrolling. Beepty bloop. We're now in Gamroth Castle. In a hallway of some kind, our 5 choices are north, south, east, west and moves. So let's wander about. In the magnificent stateroom,
In the magnificent stateroom, the border keeps changing colour. In the magnificent stateroom, let's go north in a hallway. Near some evidence of the castle's recent sacking. Let's go east. Again, there's some evidence. Obviously, the castle's been sacked. In a small, dark room. In a hallway of some kind. In a hall. I'm not sure quite what I'm meant to be doing. I think I'm looking for this scroll. And I was literally wandering around the castle. There's no clues as to where it might be. Apart from you're just wandering about. In various, not very interesting. Oh, by a window. But in the gardens. Not very well described places. There's a hallway, there's a window, there's a stateroom. I've made 23 moves so far. There's a window, a darkened passageway, another hallway. In the gardens, in the gardens, in the gardens, in the gardens, in the gardens. Is there a scroll in the gardens? Let's go south. In a hallway. In a small dark room. In the castle's gardens. In the castle's gardens. In a darkened passageway. By a window. In a small dark room. By a window. I've escaped the dark room. But I'm in another dark room. Now some evidence of sacking. In a hallway. By a window. I was wandering around hoping to find this scroll. I'm not having a lot of luck. In a small dark room. In a hallway. In the stateroom. I can just seem to keep going in the same direction forever. I made 58 moves. And I've now run out of time. So presumably the Watchers have got me. I have to start again. So let's try again. Skip forward to level 2. Again, wandering around. This is my 4th or 5th go of doing this. Let's keep wandering around. In the magnificent stateroom, in a small dark room, darkened passageway, in a hallway. This is quick. Small dark room, let's keep wandering about. Oh! I found the scroll, which tells me the date I need to reach the Swordsman era is 8451. The Swordsman's era is 8451. Which is good to know. I leave the castle with the vital information. After much travelling, I reach the city of Aurora. I need something. Scroll. Here. The scroll. I'm at a crossroads in the town. The northern exit is blocked by a herd of vargs. I've just come from the south. Do I go left, go right? I bump into a Kradvar. Do I fight him or apologise, ask for help? I should apologise. I'm now standing by a SIDRAT. Let's examine it. I'm still standing by a SIDRAT. Well, let's go into the SIDRAT. I'm in a strange room full of dials. I hear a ticking. It stops. Examine the dials. I see a keyboard and a screen. I enter the code. Ooh! I found the time machine. I've reached the timescale 8451, the time of the Swordsman of Kraxis 7. I'm fortunate I don't have to travel further. What I did not know was that Kraxis 7 was in fact my old planet Andromeda 14. I'm on the upper slope of a hill and I'm carrying a case, the contents of which I do not know. The Swordsman is nearby. Which way do we want to go, west or east? I've entered east. My prompts are faulty. Kraxis 7 is a very exact planet. Such a way is impossible. I have failed by typing lowercase e. I had to be uppercase. So the first 2 levels are lowercase and then we switch to uppercase. Actually, the first 3 levels are pretty much. So let's try it again. We've now skipped to level 4. Again, I'm going to go east in capitals. Going east in capitals is important. I can see the Swordsman. There is a long, non-skippable pause here. Here he is. I have a choice of fighting or talking. Again, you've got to use uppercase. The Swordsman asked me why you were here. Sick. My reply details the planet's crisis and the need for the magic sword. He wants me to make an offer for the sword in the amount of skill and knowledge I've gained. I can also add any items. So I'm going to offer 20 somethings and the case, which should be an uppercase. It's not enough. He's banished me. Oh dear. This game is disappointing and bug-ridden. Let's make it better. We've got a fair few things to play with here. So we've got typos and spelling mistakes. We've got the whole am I caps lock or not issue. We've got the fact that level 2 is just a bit dull. We've also got the fact that level 1 just doesn't work at all. So let's start off with the low-hanging fruit, which will be fixing the typos. So the typos were in level 5, which is found in the 3530 range. Here we are. The swordsman asked why you were here rather than here. So that's easy enough to fix. It's just a typo. Sounds the same. I've made similar typos myself, but this was printed in the book, so you'd have thought the editors might have caught it. And the next one may just be a printing error. It's not on this line, but on line 3550, where the word the is only printed as the letter E, but the spaces for the are present. So we can fix that quite easily. We put the in. Now we need to sort out caps lock. You can't set caps lock directly from basic, but in Sinclair User number 14, there was an episode of Helpline written by Andrew Hewson. And the great Andrew Hewson of Hewson Consultants gave us words of wisdom. So the caps lock flag is held in the flags2 variable. It's a single bit setting. So what we can do, and he's given us the code to check if this single bit is set, which is int brackets peak 23658 divided by 8, close brackets, if that equals 2 times int, open brackets, int, open brackets, peak 23658 divided by 8, close bracket, divided by 2, close bracket, then that if it's true, caps lock is not set. So what we then do is go to randomize user 4317, which is execute part of the Spectrum ROM that toggles caps lock, turns it on or off depending on what it is currently. So level 5, we want caps lock to be on. However, what about level 1? Level 2, you entered 1 and 2, which will return here in a little while. So we had a problem in level 3 where the scrolling, we'd say, oh, I'm doing something, and it was kept interrupting with scroll. So by poking 23692 to 255, we basically tell the Spectrum, you know what, when you run, you can print 255 lines before asking me to scroll. And I'm going to copy that also to line 1045, because that's ruined the line with Aurora. So you're in the city of Aurora, Do you want to scroll? And it's got a bit annoying. So I'll fix that as well. So here line 5000, we want to basically shift line 11 down to say 5001 or somewhere. There. Nice and simple. Caps lock is on. Caps lock is on. Therefore, we need to turn it off. Hopefully this will detect it. And this works nicely. We still die, but that's one bug fix. So let's look at these user-defined graphics. There are 5 of them. 3 are the skier. 1 is the flag and 1 is a tree. We can see the skier being used, but nothing else. So this is the line that gets printed out every so often. Character 16 is the ink flag. Character 0 is then black. We then have 3 spaces. And then character 16-2, which is red, 3 spaces. Character 16 and black, which is black ink, 3 spaces. And what I'm going to do is make an executive decision and make these 4 characters long and make them the flag, which is user-defined graphic numbered, which is D. And in the middle we have 4 spaces, 2, 3 and 4, and then character string black ink for 4 flags, because otherwise you've got no idea where you're going. The way it detects you've hit something is if the ink of the square you're on is green, you hit something, but what have you hit? It's all very mysterious. So I believe in this square, this line, where you had 63 or 64 spaces, I think you just got 1 line of characters, but they shouldn't be spaces. They should be user-defined graphic E, otherwise you never ever use it. A whole line worth of trees. Trees being user-defined graphic E. So level 2, what we're going to do is replace the 1-dimensional array of 100 characters with a 2-dimensional array, because if you went north and south you'd eventually stop. However, you can go east and west forever. Well, not forever. You can go east or west until you hit the beginning or the end of the array, which didn't really make a lot of sense to me. So I'm changing this to a two-dimensional array just to make life a bit easier. So logically, you can see what's going on a bit better because it's a castle. It's not some sort of strange toroidal castle. So the rest of the lines are fine. You've got 10 rows of 10. But we also calculate the position of the player and of the time date scroll with these two variables which are between 1 and 100. And if I'm going to create a new variable called py, and that's going to be the p position divided by 10, but as an integer. And then px, so obviously that should be px. Px is the current position minus py times 10, so that'll give us the units. You do the same for the position of the magic scroll, which is obviously my and mt. 757 is if we're in the right place. Originally it was p is mt, but having here, px is mx and py is my. Using a two-dimensional array is more expensive in terms of memory. However, I think it's easier to understand. We're now looking at movement, which are the lines 8, 30 and so on. So what we're doing here is quite simple. So if py is less than 10, then we can add 1 to py, which means we've gone north. We do the same for the other ones. What I'm now doing is adding some code. So if you try to make a move and you can't make a move, then it should actually give you some kind of clue. So here, if the movement is north, and we're allowed to go north, then you do go north and you skip forward. If you can't go north, then put a little beep out. Just in a little beep. I'm going to add a new line. It's called tone. And tone is going to be based on the distance that you have. But with distance, which absolute means I don't care about the sign. Px minus mx is our two x positions. And we add that to the absolute value, again, of the difference between our y positions of me and the scroll. So the further away we are, the higher the number will be. So a little beep of a tenth of a second based on the distance that you are away. So every turn you get a series of little beeps going. So first of all, I'll make it a negative tone. Make it a negative tone. So now the closer you get, the higher the beep. So instead of it happening every turn, how about you just, let's say, 50% chance of it happening? So it's not, guaranteed. So you can take a few moves and maybe it won't happen at all. So you fix level 1, you fix level 2. Now on to level 5. Level 5 is a bit odd. The winning condition is based on this negotiation with the swordsman. Wn is the value you have to negotiate with, which is 60 minus the moves you make in level 2, plus 30 minus the moves you make in level 3. So the faster you complete levels 2 and 3, the more points you get. So let's show you why that calculation of the winning calculation is nonsense. So we're going to have W as our winning value. You can't have WN because it's a variable, because it's a loop variable. That's with W. So that's the maximum we can maximum we can offer. N is the amount we could offer, which again will be 1 to W. And then we're going to say, right, okay, then it checks to see if the amount you offered plus 5, hence N plus 5, and then the maximum you could offer, divide by 4 times by 5, so 125% of it. If the amount you offer plus 5 is greater than, that should be Y obviously, then you win. I don't understand the logic. I don't understand the logic at all. So, at very low values, you can win there's quite a lot of ways of winning. As the amount of knowledge and experience you have increases, the gaps between them change. And at a certain point, you can't win anymore. So if you gain lots of skill, you can't, by presumably having lots of adventures in the town and exploring the castle thoroughly, you cannot win. Whereas if you're very, very quick, like you speedrun it, you can win. Also, how are you meant to know how much knowledge and skill you have? You just put a random number in. So let's change this line to be something that makes a bit more sense, because this makes no sense at all to me. How about, if the amount you offer, how about instead, it's a number in a range perhaps. It goes up to your movement and your V. So it could be all of your points. So just your random of your movement and movement in level 2, movement in level 3. Here's the Swordsman of Kraxis 7 after an hour of debugging and an hour of code. So, We're now going down the mountainside. We can see nice trees, we've got gates, we can move left, we can move right, we go down the gates, and it's rather exciting. It moves at a fair lick, a little bit flickery, but what we can do, it's in basic, so it actually makes sense rather than instant death. I think in the days of printing, if you didn't use a ZX printer, it couldn't cope with printing strange characters because user-defined graphics aren't part of normal typeface. But so normally you come out with a way of dealing with that, like say underlined lowercase letters or something, not just leaving it blank. But this lick's gone quite nicely now. It wasn't that hard to fix once you worked out the characters we're not using. Down we go. 20, 21 gates. We've got 22 gates. Can we get to the end? 23. Sometimes you've got to plan quite, you've got to move quite quick. But 25, and we are done. Level 1 complete. On to level 2, the Castle of Gamroth. Let's try and head south. No, can't go south. Okay, let's go west. No, can't go west, even though life is peaceful there. Let's head east. We've got no clue at the moment. After 10 moves, you start getting the beeps. So let's head east, methodically, until we have any better idea. Okay, that was a beep. Oh, we've got further away. Because remember, the higher the beep, the better. 2 beats means we're now into 20 moves, maybe. So you have to remember the last tone you heard, and then work out if we're we are definitely getting closer. Because the descriptions of the rooms don't really have any bearing on where the scroll might be. But we're certainly getting closer, but we're also running out of time. Will we fail and be caught by the agents of the Watchers? So halfway there. Unfortunately, we can't go any further west. We have done it. We've got the scroll, and we need to get to 8427. The year 8427. In the year 2525. Right, northern exit is blocked by Vargs, so let's go left. We're outside the Temple of Isis. Let's walk to the gardens. Beautiful gardens. What should we do? Best look at the flowers or explore them further. Let's explore further. Uh-oh, a space cruiser's landed. I'm going to hide. A troop of space police are approaching.
Space, hello. What's space going on here then?
What should we do? Fire at them or ask them for help? Well, they all say ask a policeman, but not in this game. All space police are bastards, apparently. Now we're outside the Temple of Isis. So I think this time we should stroll in. Oh, we bumped into a Kradvar. Should we fight him or apologise and ask for help? Always say sorry. Violence is not the answer, except when the police are involved, seemingly. Now by a SIDRAT. So let's go into the SIDRAT. And a strange room full of dials with a ticking sound. This is a clue. It's a time machine. Let's enter the year we need to get to, the Swordsman. We're now travelling through time. Ooh-wee-oo. 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 Copyright BBC Enterprises. Right, we reach the timescale of the Swordsman of Kraxis 7. Do we go west or east? Caps lock is on. So what happens if we go west rather than east? Let's find out. If we're going west, what happens? You've got the wrong way, I'm afraid. You've fallen down a steep cliff and you die. Back to the start of the whole game. So let's go east now and see the Swordsman. He now reminded me of Charles Hawtrey from the Carry On films. What happens if you fight him instead of talking? He may not have looked tough, true, but he gave one hell of a battle. Unfortunately, during the battle, his sword is broken. You beat him, but your world cannot be saved. Oh dear. So that's now our offering 47 skill points. We know how many we have. And the case we brought with us. And this time we finally win. And he gives us the case. Well done. What a hero. An odd game. But after you fixed it, rather good, I think. Rather jolly. Thank you for watching.